Straight from South Africa. This is the strange and mysterious world with your hosts, Lee Stratum and William Collinson.
And welcome to season 1, episode 29, Strange and Mysterious World. So, William, we're going to be chatting about the well-known Rendlesham Forest event that happened in 1980 in the UK. But before we get on to there, I must tell you a story of what happened to me during the week.
Oh, wait, before we get into any of those stories, what's this pink hat you wearing?
I'm supporting cancer, Women's Cancer Day, whatever.
Okay, geez, I was just thinking, oh, that's interesting. I mean, I know you went to Mecca and you had to shave your hair off to Mecca. Yeah. So I know you kind of hide your bald.
The bald. It's coming there. Hold on.
How's it coming?
It's getting.
Oh, geez, this Grange Forest is almost like back to normal.
Not quite, but maybe about another month, then we're there.
Jeez, okay. Well, nice pink hat, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks. I'm batting for the women's side tonight.
Okay, good, man.
So, a couple of nights ago, what are we on now? So it's Tuesday. On, I think it was Wednesday last week or Thursday last week. Can't remember. It was about 6:20 in the evening. My wife is sitting in the office now. Her office is in the outbuilding from us. So I've actually got to walk outside to go. And I brought her some food, some dinner. I made some dinner. I was bringing it out. On the way out, back to the house, I looked up, because I always do. I look up in the sky. And I saw this light going across the sky. But look, we've got planes that come across, but it's always in a certain direction. So I know it wasn't a plane, because our planes, they're normally the Boeings at the King Shark Airport, and it's like slow moving. I know it's not a satellite, because being from MUFON, I've investigated sightings like you can't believe, and I know how satellites move. I mean, I've seen them, I've witnessed them. I know exactly their trajectory. This thing moved at pace. But I say not even I think a fighter jet would have paled in comparison to how fast this thing was going.
Oh.
But it only lasted 3-4 seconds, and then it disappeared. It almost, I felt, because this happened before, I'll tell you now what happened, but it almost felt like it knew I'd seen it, and it blinked out.
Oh, yeah.
It was weird. I had that feeling, like I smiled to myself. I thought, yeah, they freaking knew, because I was between the houses and I was looking up, so you couldn't really see me, but I think this thing knew. So what had happened some time back, when I was busy dusting out one of the cloths at night for the bed, I'd gone out and I saw the opposite trajectory. It wasn't going the same. This one, it was on the opposite direction. There were two lights, okay, and one was following the other one. But it wasn't a satellite, also moving quick. And then one kind of slowed down, the other one caught up, and then I looked up and I saw 2-3 seconds also blink out. Almost like as if someone is looking at them, and it disappears.
Well, how big were they? Like the size of, like, if you had to compare them against the stars in the night sky?
The ones that I saw, the two, they were slightly brighter than a satellite, slightly, not too much.
I mean,
this
like a
one,
star.
this one that I saw up here last week was probably about 4 times the brightness of a star. It was bright, dude. It was bright, and it was moving.
Wow.
It was moving really,
amazing.
really quickly. Yeah, so that's just actually pretty cool. But
Yeah,
that's kind of my
experience.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was traveling with this one colleague of mine, and there was this like orb thing that traveled. It was like next to some trees, and this orb just went like into the trees. The trees were very sparse. It like went into the trees, and it was like flying in the trees, and then it just also blinked out. I mean, it was low, and it was like maybe the size of like like half the size of a soccer ball or something. And then we both looked at each other. Well, she was driving, and we were like, "Geez, what was that?" And then I was like, all excited. I was like, "UFO," and then she was like, "Well, I'll take it. And then
this is not your Christian friend, the one that's always that you're driving around.
No. That's how. Yeah, I wish it was a Christian friend. That would have been awesome. She probably would have thought it was the devil. But that's cool, man. Awesome.
Yeah, so that's actually pretty cool. So now the Rendlesham Forest event, I've known about it for a long time. I mean, when I was with MUFON, I did a bit of my own investigation. Not that I went there, but I did my own investigation into it. And I know they like to dub it as the Roswell of the UK. But the problem there is Roswell, the craft crashed, or actually more than one. Apparently there was more than one craft that crashed in Roswell, but this didn't crash. This landed. So this was like a close encounters of the third kind. You know what I mean? And where it was, which is in Rendlesham, it's just outside of London, or a little way out of London. There are two army bases. One's the RAF Brentwater, and the other one's RAF Woodbridge. Now, Woodbridge, I think at the time, was occupied by the US. I think the US had their guys there. And I think the RAF Brentwater had the UK guys there. But they had specifically put it between Rendlesham Forest because Rendlesham Forest acted as a cover, so it was a camouflage. So if there were planes and stuff going over, they wouldn't really see them because it was camouflaged by the trees. They actually planted more trees around them just to kind of hide. And at some stage during the Cold War, there were actually nuclear weapons there.
Yeah, so when this incident happened, was at the heart of the Cold War, and there was nuclear weapons there,
Yeah, 100%. So obviously this incident took place in 1980, Christmas, just after Christmas Day. It was Boxing Day, the 26th of December. And it happened over 3 nights. It was 26th, 27th, 28th. Now, the first night, the guys noticed, the security guys that were on patrol at the time, noticed these lights, these strange lights that were kind of, moving around in the forest. So they decided to go and investigate what these lights were. When they got in there, there's kind of conflicting stories because some of the stories came out. I think the guy's name was Jim Pennington, was the one guy, and the other guy was John Burroughs.
Yes, that's
and the two of them are quite important. And there was a guy by the name of Lieutenant Colonel Holt. He actually put out a report later on. His couple of his dates were a little bit out, but he put out a report a few weeks later. But now Jim and John, they had actually gone out to go and investigate, and they actually taped this. There's actually a tape recording of this whole event that took place, and they were seeing these lights. Sorry, what's it?
Colonel Charles Holt, the famous audio tape of he recorded the whole thing while he was walking. Yeah, and I'll also, because he also took photos, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah, and they were seeing these lights, but these guys were panicking a little bit because these lights were a bit irregular, and they were flashing red, green, and yellow. But the scientists were saying, no. What they were seeing is fireballs or stars, bright stars. And somebody else also said it probably might be the lighthouse. There was a lighthouse that was quite close by.
Yeah, no, so all the skeptics that have researched this thing, they all say it was the lighthouse the lighthouse is 4 miles away. That's like 7 kilometers away.
Yeah. And so now the problem with the lighthouse, the lighthouse is a white light, which flashes. There's no other colors in a lighthouse.
But John Burroughs and Jim Penniston, they were saying those lights were moving up and down and through the forest, like they were going. Jim and John, they walked and followed the light for ages, like going through the woods, and they were so amazed how this thing could move through the trees and and in and out, and it was shining beams down onto the floor, and I mean that's just, how does a lighthouse do that?
Yeah, exactly. It's not a lighthouse. I mean, it's just stupid to even consider that, and to say it's a star. I mean, there was even a guy that tried to debunk it and said no, it was actually the policeman and the police guys. They rocked up on the scene, and it was the police lights they saw. But the problem is the police. So this event happened at 3 a.m. in the morning. At 4 o'clock, they then decided to call the cops, and the cops came around. The police came around after that. So those lights weren't the police. The police came after 4.
Funny when the army has to phone the police. I don't know who's more.
So they call the local.
It's got more like authority or gunpower. I mean, like, wouldn't with the police? I mean, it's so funny that the army's phoning the police.
Yeah, they called the local police and the guys came in, but they only came in after 4. And then when these guys went out and investigated again, they were out there because Colonel Holt actually said when he went into his investigation, when they went into the forest, I think they went in on the 28th, Colonel Holt, when he went and he did the scan for the radiation, and they had the tape recording. And they actually took photos of where this thing apparently landed, because there was a triangle for like a landing spot, which was about 10 feet, about 10 feet by 10 feet, so triangular. And he said while they were there, actually on tape as well, it says he saw these 3 bright lights out in the sky, just above the horizon. And one of them was kind of hovered for about 2-3 hours, and every now and then you could see a beam of light come down and then disappear. And then the astronomers reckon, oh, no, those are planets. So you can see the planets at what, 11 o'clock in the morning, eh? when you know the UK is mostly cloudy, you can't really see much. And even if it was, it would have been sunshine, and you don't see planets at 11 in the morning. And not that bright anyway, and then hovers, and then it's shooting lights. If it had been planets or stars, they would have moved across the sky, and it would have disappeared within an hour, because that's how, it moves across. Not hang over there or hover there for 3 hours. So they definitely did see something. Now, the interesting fact about that is the story that John and Jim came out with was actually very interesting. Now, they had actually witnessed this craft apparently landing. And now this craft was a triangular metal, like a metal shape, but metallic, but it had a feeling of glass. I think Jim actually touched the UFO, and he said it was like feeling glass. It had a glass finish to it, but there was writing. There was like hieroglyphics, which he actually wrote in one of the books while he was there. He actually scribbled the hieroglyphics down. Luckily, he did that. And he said when he got to the hieroglyphics, it felt like sandpaper. And he obviously, this came out a little time later. It wasn't put in the report originally. I think they did hold back because of worry about what might happen. Yeah, but the stories that came out after that were corroborated by even witnesses that were nearby farms. They were saying this on those specific nights they saw lights. Their cows and stuff were going crazy, which cows and that don't normally do unless there's some. I mean, if you've been watching Skinwalker Ranch, you see how the animals react.
Jim and John also reported that the animals were going berserk in the nearby farms. That's also in the report from what they've given.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it was a little bit sometime later, John actually developed, straight after that, he started developing illness, John Burroughs. With his eyesight deteriorated very quickly, and he picked up a very bad heart murmur. He was so sick, he ended up going to a hospital, and the doctors checked him and they said, geez, dude, you've got a massive heart murmur. And obviously in those times, the military wouldn't allow you in if you had any defect. And I remember, because when I was in the army back in the early 90s, that you did a proper medical, where they checked everything. They checked to make sure you didn't have any heart conditions, you didn't have any scoliosis, anything. You had to be G1K1, which was like you're fit, you're totally fit. If you were out of it, they wouldn't even consider you. You were left out. So the heart murmur in the UK would have been picked up quickly, and it wasn't. This only developed after he had come into contact with this UFO. Now, the cool thing is, in 2015, he actually had a lawyer that was working for him because he wanted to try and claim medical benefits, old John. And the military was saying, no, he never worked for us. But it came out that he proved that he actually did work for them.
No, yeah, because the story was that is that he got that bad heart murmur and everything, and then he went to the doctor, and because he was from the military, they're supposed to be able to get military benefits from being in the military. So they were supposed to be able to pay for all of his medical things. And that's when the military started saying, no, he wasn't actually he never came to the military, and they wouldn't give the police records, the medical records, because he said it was because of that UFO that damaged him, and they would not release the files of the UFO case that he got close to this thing or whatever. So they couldn't get the money out of the army for his records, or you couldn't get any money from the military for his medical things, because he never belonged to the army, never came here, because the whole thing was classified. They classified the whole incident. So, and to hide it, they just said he was not part of the army. So he couldn't get his medical payout because of that.
So eventually he was paid, And eventually they admitted to say, yes, he did work there. But the reason why they said that he didn't is because he was involved with some black operations as well, which unfortunately kind of led into that same time period. So they didn't want to release it because it was highly classified. Okay, this was the excuse. But in 2015, they acknowledged, they said, yes, he did work, and they sorted out his medical stuff for him. He's currently, while he was on medical board, they boarded him. So they obviously pay him out every month. And they admitted, they said, yes, it was due to the incident that happened in Rendlesham, the radiation that caused the issues. So they actually admitted, they said, this is a consequence, what could happen of encounters with UFOs or UAPs, if that's what they like to call it now. So they actually admitted it, dude.
Oh, wow. Okay. I forgot about that. They actually admitted that bit, but I remember that he was having a hard time getting the money out.
Yeah, he got it.
Okay, amazing. But that's a win. That's a win for us, man.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's one of the most documented. It was one of the most documented encounters. I'm not gonna call it a sighting, because it's an encounter, because these guys encountered, they actually saw the ship.
Yeah, but that's also because John Burroughs, he disappeared because they went close to the object
for 40 minutes.
And I know John Burroughs, I don't know if Jim also disappeared. Was it because he came back, and then I think Jim was like, "Where were you? We were looking for you for like half an hour, or whatever." And then he was like, "No, I've just been here the whole time. What are you talking about?" And then after he got he did a whole lot of hypnosis sessions with also Linda Moulton Howe.
Yeah.
Was doing close investigations with him, and then all of the stuff was coming out in his hypnosis, like actually nothing of the actual being in the craft, but everything like going up to the craft and then coming back.
Yeah,
because in the hypnosis I can play a little bit for you now if you like, but
yeah, play.
Here's some of the hypnosis session here.
This is the one where he repeats quite a lot. He's like, it's moving, it's going up. We're following.
Yeah, oh my God, I just missed my place as well. But
I remember that.
Get away from us. We gotta know where it is. Okay, well, it's going.
Can you hear it?
Yeah. Put a bit louder.
Out, unknown. Okay, keep the radio contact. Okay, and we just start walking back. And I'm talking. Sean Pennington and I and Bananachek. We're walking, and we're walking back. Okay, what was it? I don't know. John, what do you think it is? I don't know. Do I look scared? You look pale. I don't know what I saw, John. I think it was a UFO. I don't know. I don't want to believe what I saw. He goes, John, it seemed like we were there and all of a sudden we're here. Why couldn't we get radio contact with them? We should have been able to. There was repeater stations, there was towers, but we lost contact with them. I don't know. Well, what are we going to do? I don't know. Let's just see what happens when we get back. So we're walking, and it's cold, and we're walking, and we come across a creek that we don't even remember crossing. Do you remember this, John? No, I don't remember this. Do you remember that, John? No, I don't remember. Well, how did we get there? I don't know. Could we have been moved by it? Could something have picked us off the ground? I don't know. I don't want to talk about it. Okay, let's get back. Okay, now the radio transmissions are getting strong now, real strong. Okay, we're talking real clearly with them, and they're saying, "What's your ETA?" We don't know. The British police are there. The ship commander's there. The flight chief, the security flight chief's there. Our flight chief's there. There's other law enforcement patrols there. Everybody was concerned. They go, we lost contact with you for 45 minutes, 50 minutes. We didn't know where you were. We saw, the WSA tower saw all kinds of lights in the air. They thought they saw something being beamed up in the air, but they weren't sure. They thought we lost you, John. We thought we lost you guys. Well, what happened? We don't know.
That was really cool. So it's funny because in this hypnosis, he can't remember seeing the thing, or he doesn't mention what he saw in that. But Jim clearly described that he saw that triangle-shaped black thing that was made out of glass, and then when he ran his fingers over it, he got like a download of noughts and ones. and it was imprinted in his mind for like ages. He couldn't get it out of his mind. These noughts and ones, these noughts. So he really wrote it down. And he doesn't say this in any of the interviews, but when they interviewed him on Ancient Aliens with John Boris, because John Boris was there as well, he actually revealed the noughts and ones, and he said, "Look, this is what I wrote down. This is what I had seen after. I mean, this is what was in my head the whole time. These noughts and ones." He said when he touched the craft, it went into him like it beamed into his head, like an imprint, and it stayed there.
Yeah.
And then when they
it was actually 16 pages of, it's called binary code. It's 16 pages of binary code.
Binary code. Exactly. And then they did it, and when they looked at analysis on it, they said it said exploration of humanity unclear 8100. Then it gave what they thought was a longitude and latitude of GPS coordination.
Yeah, but the GPS, there were a lot of GPS coordinates though. There was a lot for a lot of different buildings.
But the thing is that there was no commas inside they couldn't, when they took that, the one that they deciphered, it came out to 28 places it could be in because of the decimal, one of the decimals or something was missing. So it could have been 28 places or 25 places. And one of the places was actually Bent Waters.
Yes.
That was actually the one coordinate. So that makes sense. It's, because that's where it happened. And then the rest of it was deciphered, and it says continuous for planetary advance.
Yeah, that was in the middle of the Atlantic, that one. Read that out again.
Continuous for planetary advance.
Yeah, that apparently there's something in the middle of the Atlantic that's got to do with that.
And then it says fourth coordinates, continuous, unclear, before. So that's what they deciphered from the binary code. So that was quite interesting. And then what was also interesting is when they got back to when they got back to the base, they got called in and they were told to never ever say any of this ever again. It was classified. They said you did not mention a word of this. And then when people started researching, they tried to find the radar data for that day, 2026, to see was there's anything in the sky. And they said no, that they'd turned the radar off during that time. They weren't on. But it's like it's at the heart of the Cold War, and there was two radars. And they said they couldn't get radar data for both of them because they had turned it off during that time, like as if someone went on a tea break or something. And in the heart of the Cold War, how would you turn off any radar over a nuclear facility? You know what I mean? So it's very suspicious activity that
I think it was Colonel Holt's report says that when they were on their way out to go and investigate, they actually got a hold of the radar tower, and the radar tower said yes, they picked up, there was some strange movement that they picked up in the forest. So they actually confirmed, and then later on you're saying that they said no, there was nothing.
Okay, yeah. And then
I wanted to talk about the coordinates, man. There's coordinates that were given. So there were actually quite a few. So one of them was a place called Sedona, which is in Arizona. Another one was on the Giza Plateau. Another one was just outside of Nazca, where the Nazca lines are.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, there was another place called Shandong, which is in China. And then the Temple of Apollo in Greece.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so there's quite a few more, but those are the ones that I kind of remember. Yeah, there's something definitely happening there, dude. And the thing is, when he actually started writing down that code, I think only in 2011.
Wow. So it's like, sure, quite a long time off. It must have been.
Yeah, he started writing that code down, and then there was a guy by the name of Gary Osborne, I think his name was. He's the guy that deciphered it. It took him, I think it was 12 years. It took him 12 years to decipher that. And there's a specific mathematical formula that they had to use that he reckons no normal Joe understands binary code. It's a very in-depth and very mathematical thing. You've got to know what you're doing. And it took him 12 years. It took him 12 years to decipher that. So for this oak to go and make up a binary code, dude, come on, man. That's not the case. 12 years to decipher it.
Yeah, and I mean, also, if you're going to make up a binary code, I mean, at least you could weave a better story than exploration of humanity, unclear. 88, 100, and some like in a coordination and continuous for planetary advance, 4 coordinates, continuous, unclear before.
Yeah,
I
then
mean,
there was the one that says
if you're gonna make up a
ours.
story, I would make up a pretty cool story. If I was
Yeah.
gonna lie about the barn, I would make some pretty cool shit up. You know, that's pretty
Lame.
useless.
Yeah. There was also part of the message that said eyes of your eyes. And right at the end, it says origin year 8,100.
Yes.
Now, the problem is everybody thinks it's a future 8,100. I don't think it's a future. I think it's a past.
You know what's also but interesting about, because I've watched a few of John Burroughs's hypnosis things, and when they asked him in the one hypnosis, "What are you? What are you?" and then he even says, "It's people from the future that have come back to."
Okay.
And that's how weird is that? Like that's also one I don't know. I mean, I could never really like trust hypnosis so much, but.
Yeah, a future 8,000. I don't think the planet's going to last anywhere past the next 200 years, dude. I don't think it's going to reach 8,100. I'll be honest.
We're going to probably blow ourselves up.
If it was 8,100, maybe in the past, then maybe, because you must remember, we're coming off periods where we didn't understand the technology at the time. Came back 10, 12,000 years ago. Their technology outweighs what we know today. I mean, remember, we talk about guys that were building pyramids with certain vibrational tools. These guys understood the earth, dude. We don't. So my understanding and more likely would be it's a past, maybe traveling to the future. I don't know. That's just, I don't know. It's hard to, everybody's got their own theories and their own things. Just 8,100 in the future. No, man, it seems way too far. And I don't even think, like I said, the planet can't last another 6,000 years. There's no ways, dude. And not in the current trajectory that we're on now.
Yeah, but anyway, so that was interesting that he said that there are people from the future coming to do something. I wish I could find that.
Yeah, but if anybody wants to go and listen to Colonel Charles' audio tape, Charles Holt, it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
At a place called Eyes and Cinema at Real EOC Presents Eyes on UFOs. Yeah, so that's quite long. How long is that? That's 18 minutes.
Yeah, 18 minutes.
Yeah, that's pretty long. But yeah, so there's evidence, besides photos that they took as well. There's recorded evidence. There's evidence from the diary that luckily, because you must remember now, I think it was Jim. He made notes in his book, in his diary that he was carrying. He made notes of what was going on. He made notes of the ships, what it looked like. He made notes of the hieroglyphs that were on the ship. And luckily he did that, because when they got to base, everything else, they didn't know he had written the stuff in the book. Everything else was confiscated. All the video, all the
because
cameras and everything.
He took pictures of the craft. They said he actually took actual pictures of the craft, and those pictures have never seen the light of day.
Yeah,
but he did draw pictures. He drew it afterwards, like what it looked like.
He drew it, and then they confiscated all the audio. They confiscated the photographs. Apparently, they said, "Oh no, the lighting was so bad they couldn't see anything, like a blown out. Not like when it's too white, they can't see anything." So, but they never gave it back to him. Yeah, you just got to wonder if that was really the case. But the government said no, they didn't really investigate much because it wasn't a threat. There was no threat detected, so they didn't investigate.
What are they talking about? No threat. There's like space. There's aircraft or whatever you want to call it. Craft traveling around the most sensitive nuclear facilities in England.
Yeah,
and they don't want to go. They say there's not a threat to investigate. I mean, it's just and also it's because the sightings of UFOs around nuclear facilities are like
a lot.
It's a very common thing.
Yeah,
especially around nuclear facilities. So that's also another thing it makes it quite interesting that it was around that nuclear facility.
Well, you see, there's quite a lot of UFO activity going on currently.
Well, now,
yeah, there's a lot going on. There's people sending. Look, a lot of it is made up, but that's always been the case on social media. You always get these guys that make shit up. But people have been saying that during the eclipse that they had a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently
Also-
guys were seeing, people were saying that they saw these weird lights in the skies at the time of the eclipse. There's guys that are saying there's things that are landing, there's green lights coming through the sky. I don't know. Activity seems to have picked up a
I
little
haven't
bit.
seen, I haven't seen anything on Twitter or anything.
Yeah, you must check YouTube,
Hey.
you must check Instagram. There's quite a lot of stuff coming through.
But yeah, that eclipse was funny because all the spiritual circles that I follow and that, they're all like, no, it's the end time of this and the end of this, or another one's like, no, this is a good time to manifest things, and the other ones are saying, no, this is the worst time to manifest like the energies of this and the energies that, and it's like all of this craziness, and then it's just like it comes and goes, and like what happened? Did you feel anything? I don't feel fucking anything.
Nah. Yeah, the world was supposed to end quite a few
Nothing.
times.
Anything happened in my life? Nothing. I don't know, like just like all these spiritual. I mean, like the thing is, I'm like I love the spiritual movements and everything, but sometimes I'm just like, oh my god, it's like just a bunch of lunatics.
Yeah, it's quite weird because I'm a heavy UFO enthusiast, heavy, but I'm also the biggest skeptic. So, when somebody sends me stuff, I look at this thing, I think, dude, you're talking such a lot of shit. Why
Yeah.
even bother with this stuff? So I'm the biggest skeptic, but I believe 100% that there's UFOs and all sorts of stuff going out there. I do.
Yeah. Of
Yeah.
course, man.
But
So
okay. Yeah.
at the end of any other stuff on that on the Rendlesham Forest?
No, that was about it, man. Besides the the binary code that took 12 years to come to light, there again shows that it wasn't just a hoax. It wasn't a put on. There's a message there, and it took a long time to come through. Whether maybe some of the story was embellished, I don't know. I mean, it's possible, but there's a lot of corroborating evidence, and there's a lot of things that were happening that other people had seen as well that kind of corroborate what they saw and say, yes, okay, this matches that timeline, this matches that timeline. So honestly, I think, yes, something happened there. My personal opinion, I think something happened. But yeah, from there, nothing really happened with the UFO. There was no, like you said, nothing came and took over the world. It's business as usual, and it's another site to go into the books. So
Yeah.
cool. Thanks, guys, man. Thanks again for listening. We will chat to you guys next week again. And Will, thanks again for tonight, and we'll speak to you soon.
Yeah. Cool, man.
Thanks,
Awesome.
man. Cheers.
Cheers, mate.